Today, we're not only here to say goodbye to season 5, the best season of the L Word, but basically say goodbye to all of the good episodes of the L Word. It's been real. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video, and as I said in my intro, today we are here to review season 5 episode 12, the season finale of the best season of the original L Word, and the episode that a lot of people would argue is the end of the best really good episodes of the original series. And personally, I think there are some good moments in season 6, and episodes like especially the dance episode, they're really good, but the season 6 is just so drowned out by the murder mystery Jenny storyline, and also quite a few other things that just made no sense why they chose to do this for the last season. So anyway, I will obviously be talking a lot more about that when I come back next time and I start doing the reviews for season 6. But as I said last time, this is getting towards the end. I mean, we only have 8 episodes in season 6, and then I will be doing the reviews of the first 5 episodes of Generation Q that I haven't done because I started my channel with episode 6. So let's just get right into today. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers so that I can add to my sleeve. I will be doing an L Word Ash Silver tattoo at 5 and 10,000 subscribers, so make sure that you are a part of that. And also, don't forget, if you enjoy the video at any point, give it a like. It really helps out the channel. And also, don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, for any of you eagle eyes, you'll notice I'm wearing some L Word merch today. This one is available on the Showtime store, but I also do have my own L Word merch, and I will leave the link down in the description box below. So if you want to get yourself some L Word merch and support the channel, that's where to go. So guys, let's get right into season 5, episode 12, the season 5 finale, Loyal and True. Starting off with Jenny. You know, actually, Jenny really doesn't have too much going on in the season finale. There's little bits for each character, but I kind of feel like the main people of the finale are more Alice, Shane, Bette, and Tina. And we even have like a lot of the tertiary characters getting tied up, and they do get allocated quite a lot of screen time because this is the last time we see a lot of people. And of course, Helena is back in this episode and brings along for the ride the one and only Peggy Peabody. So Jenny is mostly dealing with the fallout from being fired from the Lez Girls set, and it seems Tina and Jenny have made up, well, for the meantime at least. And at the very end, we do also see the very beginning of Shani, as even though they leave it kind of ambiguous about Jenny saying, "You've broken my heart," the camera work and the way she's looking and everything like that, it does lead most people to believe that she's talking about Shane. Like, I definitely, the first time I saw this, I remember thinking, they're not going to try and put Jenny and Shane together, are they? And lo and behold, that was one of the least problematic things about season 6. So yeah, Jenny does not end the season in a good place. Next up, we have Shane herself, and this episode, I mean, Shane is kind of all over the place. She's like really happy with Molly, and we also see her starting her photography, which she's never mentioned before, but again, okay, season 6, go for it. And Molly and Shane, you know, are in blissful happiness by the beginning of the episode, And of course, Phylis starts to meddle. We do get an appearance by Joyce Wishnia when Phylis, Shane, and Molly do go out, so that was entertaining, but it was a really small scene, and Joyce didn't have too much to say, so it was nice to see her back for the season finale. But as always, I want to see more Joyce Wishnia. One thing I really did like, and I think that this was a real, like, I felt as though it was something that would go on in my friendship group, is when Shane and Phylis were having the talk, when, you know, at the exhibit, whenever Phylis asked to talk to Shane privately, and Phylis starts saying all these things about what, like, Bette and Alice had said, and Shane immediately shuts her down and said Bette would never say something like that. And I think that when you have a friendship group, or, you know, even like a few friends, the way that this group of friends are, I mean, I'm the same way with my friends on the island that I've, you know, we went to school since we were 10. We have been best friends for 25 years. We are closer than close. And I have this conversation sometimes with other people who don't really have a really solid friendship group like that, and, you know, they'll say things like, oh, like, for instance, I don't drink, and sometimes I hear people say, like, oh, well, how do you deal with people, like your friends, pressuring you to or something, and you know, some people will say, oh, when I try and not drink, like if I go out to dinner, my friends will like jokingly try and fill my glass or be like, come on, have fun, and my answer is always, sorry, I've never had to deal with that, because my friends would never do that. Like, there's so many other instances, that's just like one example, but, you know, some people don't like to leave a room because if they go to the bathroom and people talk about them, like, that would never even enter my head. And I know that, you know, my best friends have my back no matter what. We've been through so much together, and although I am the only token gay in my group, that it's just, we have a very similar relationship to everyone on the show, and I know not everyone is as lucky for that, and I really, really know how lucky I am. And, you know, other friends do come and go, like, we even have a bigger group of a friendship group, but there is, you know, my 5 best friends, that's the 6 of us, and it's really us against the world for sure. So shockingly, but not really that shockingly, Max has all of 2 lines, I think, in this episode. At Jodi's exhibit, he says, hi you guys, and then see you guys later, or bye you guys. Like, it's as you guys know what's coming, like, I just have nothing to say. Like, clearly they just wasted the character. What was the point in even, I mean, like, I'm glad he was there because obviously he's there with Tom, but it just, you guys know what I'm going to say anyway. And since I've been doing it every single episode in season 5, you are not getting off so lightly in this one, and I am of course recommending again, and of course I'm talking about recommending the brilliant Netflix documentary Disclosure. They're actually trying to get it nominated for an Oscar at the moment, which would be so effing rad if that happened. They did an awesome job with this documentary. I honestly have never learned so much from one documentary, and as someone who's gay, I thought I was a little bit clued up on that, but no, like, this documentary is amazing. Every single week people contact me on Twitter, DMs or comments saying thank you for recommending it, because it is so good and you are seriously missing out if you haven't seen it. I'm going to start recommending other things, like changing it up for season 6, and just because it's the season finale I'm gonna also recommend it's on American Netflix, but I think it's on YouTube in the UK, the documentary Transformer about the powerlifter Janae Kroc. Very awesome as well. So that's you guys' homework for this episode. Helena does return in this episode, and still to this day in 2021, I do not understand why they had Rachel Shelley leave. Back when the show was originally on, I personally thought that Rachel Shelley had, you know, like a movie or booked some other project, but I mean, I've been looking for, 13 years and scouring and IMDb's, and there's nothing. Like, I don't understand why they got Helena leave for 2/3 of the season. But anyway, Helena is back, Peggy Peabody is back, and the scene where they arrive and Peggy's getting off the helicopter and she's being wheeled in the gurney, and she says to Helena, like, "What are you wearing?" That is my mother. Or was my mom when she was alive. Like, that is the sort of comment she would make. And also very much my dad. Like, if I was to ever come over here and not have makeup on or something like that, my dad literally would be like, "Are you sick? What's wrong with you?" They just have no tact. And yeah, like, I mean, I can laugh about it now, but totally relatable. I did personally think it was a little bit odd that they had Peggy, like, going through all this stuff with Helena in the hospital room, because one, like, my family's very big and has a lot of going, I mean, like, they're not the Peabodys, but they've got, like, a lot of stuff like that going on. And I also am friends with a lot of people who are like the Peabodys and people who are, like, you know, people that went to school with me were, you know, all Peabody type people. And there's, you know, that stuff is really dealt with, like wills and, you know, estates and everything. Like, they wouldn't just be going through this stuff casually, like, in a hospital room. And especially considering Helena's an only child, it's not the way some people's families are now, where it's like they have 3 kids from their first marriage and then 4 kids from their second marriage, and everybody has to be divided up. And yeah, I did find that, like, a little bit strange. But I'm glad they brought Peggy Peabody back, but I wish they would have utilized her a bit more. I mean, I always want more Peggy Peabody, and I hope beyond hope that she will, at some stage, however long we get Generation Q for, that we get Holland Taylor back at some stage, because it would just be awesome. It is obviously nice that Helena comes back and gets the planet back for Kit, and, you know, Lover Cindy is just randomly a part of the group towards the end. But, and again, like, that stuff is just, it takes you a bit out of the show, because I mean, in the beginning, they never could have done what they did with, like, Dawn and Ivan anyway. But, I mean, I'm part of a couple of companies, and with cousins and my brother and other people, and you just, you know, I couldn't just show up and sell it off as well so much that, like, Kit has no say in things. So it was kind of a cancel each other out. Like, Dawn would have never been able to do that, but then Kit never would have been able to do that. So it just, you know, it's a TV show, I know, but it just, stuff like that sometimes takes you out of it a little bit. Tasha and Alice, again, it was like, yes, they had a few scenes, but not so much happened with them. And I really feel like this is how I feel always about this episode. I'm always like, oh yes, season 5, the best season. It's the season finale. And I feel like I'm constantly waiting for the episode to get going. It's just, there's not really a lot that actually happens. And when I think of this episode, I normally think about, you know, when they go to the wrap party at the end and things like that. And it doesn't feel like a season finale. It feels like the penultimate episode of a season. And you know, some people do argue that, not last episode, like episode 10, Life Cycle, where they go on the bike ride, is the last good episode of the L Word. So I do like this episode for some of the scenes, but again, it feels like it's quite long, but nothing is really happening. And I feel like that's shown especially with Tasha and Alice, because they're not even together for a lot of the episode, like physically the characters. They have that little short scene where Tasha's going to work at Calmart, and it's like they're passing each other constantly, like, oh, okay, they're having coffee in the morning, they leave, and then they meet while Tasha's, you know, seeing someone else for lunch, and then Alice is off with Clea Mason. Again, I know that the character was used to kind of illustrate this point of Alice had feelings for someone else, but it also was like, what is happening? And I really like the scene between Shane and Alice, and whenever they do a scene like that, sometimes I feel like we're getting like a little taste of, you know, Leisha and Kate and their super, you know, their best friendship. And Shane and Alice both make really solid points. I really like Alice and Tasha as characters, and they are, like, you know, visually a beautiful couple, but they are very, very different people. And to lend the phrase from Jodi and Bette and Tina, core values, I feel like they do have very different core values. And we haven't really, I mean, we got like a little bit of what Tasha was about and why she was in the military and why it was important to her. And then of course her going in to be a cop, I think that just like further illustrates the point that Alice and Tasha are very different people, and this kind of does, even though like they are together for the rest, like it does start this, like, you know, ripple of discontent that kind of bleeds through season 6, and then, you know, Jamie and stuff come in season 6, but of course we'll talk about that in season 6. And of course onto a lot of people's favorites, my personal favorites, Bette and Tina, who I know some people who don't like them argue that they're just kind of fluff scenes in this episode, but personally I think that the Bette and Tina scenes in this episode are the high point of the episode. And I'm not just saying that because I really like Bette and Tina, and Bette's my favorite character, but because through like the subtlety of great acting and character development and everything like that, we see a lot going on in this episode that kind of sets the course for them in season 6, and then also further, you know, fans the flames of what is happening in old Generation Q. I like having this behind, like, I'm gonna, when I start doing Generation Q, I'm gonna start like putting the episode behind there so I can point in like scenes. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about their scenes separately, like the car in the beginning. Not too much was happening there, you know, they're trying to set up their lives obviously, and, you know, they both seem happy and content. And then we also, you know, get a little bit about the Jodi thing. I think it was also weird that they were saying like Angie being her life, and I'm glad Bette shut that down, because yeah, I know all lesbians like want to be friends with their exes, but in this situation I just do not think it works. So we also get that, you know, nice scene in the backyard where Tina is wearing that awful shirt. I really don't like that shirt, but the way that it's shot, like through the sheets, and like they have that, you know, outdoor couch by the pool, it is nice, and I understand what they're going for, that we're supposed to be privy to this like intimate moment and things, but I think that only works when it's like paired with certain camera work, and we're getting all these cuts and, you know, like different angles and things. So I would have preferred it just to be filmed the normal way. I didn't really like the cutting like between the sheets and stuff. Bette obviously says in the scene that she, you know, is asking Tina basically if she would want to have another child, and as you know, I don't think there's anyone who watches this who like hasn't seen the show, so I feel like comfortable in saying that, spoiler alert if you haven't watched season 6 yet, I guess, but we know that a lot of what they do in season 6 is to try and have another child, and it's again just like that, why don't we have an answer for this in Generation Q? I mean, literally it could be like the Jenny thing, like just give me one throwaway line. Oh, remember when we, you know, they say they tried another time after the Marcy thing and it just didn't work out, or there was some other circumstance. Just again, I'm just like, this is so easy. We're easily pleased people, us L Word fans. Anyway, need to calm down, we're not there yet. So that scene, you know, it is cute, it is nice. Tina has a terrible shirt on, but got through it. Then, just to quickly throw in, like, Tina is also going through this thing. She's, like, obviously at home because she's been kicked off the set, and the whole thing with Adele, I mean, they did that scene with Adele basically saying to Tina, you know, if you want this on budget and on time, like, get out of here. And then we see Adele obviously at the rap party with, you know, she looks like some straight person that's literally been like, okay, kiss this girl. And it is so awkward, but I kind of love this, the way they did this, because you see everybody, like the group, and they're all having champagne and stuff. And I feel like, again, the way I was saying, you know, with Kate and Leisha, sometimes you do just get, like, it's just that extra bit good, because, and maybe this is all in my head, but it just feels that extra bit of realness, because maybe it's because we know in real life, like, they're best friends, or because we know in real life that the actors in general just really got on and really loved their job and really loved the show. So that is one of the scenes that I always look at, just that little champagne toast where there's nothing really majorly said, they're all just being like, oh my gosh, check out Adele. That is one of the moments that I look at and I'm like, this is why this cast is so special, because even with that little scene with so little dialogue and direction and anything, they're all just standing there toasting. It feels so real and authentic, and they're all just doing such a great job. Like the subtle looks when they're asking Shane about Molly and stuff, and everybody's just fantastic. It's a silly little scene, but it's one of my favorite scenes from the episode. Yeah, but I'm jumping ahead. I just wanted to say that it was so bizarre that that's the last we see of Adele, and we never hear from her, when she was a huge figure in season 5 and had this master plan, and then poof, she's gone. And the same could be said for Dawn Denbo. Like, poof, she's gone. Never see her again. What happened there? So just to backtrack for one little second, we are not going to skip over the Jodi scene, of course. And one funny thing that I don't think I've ever noticed this before, but when I was watching the show today, when Shane and Jodi hug at the Hammer Museum and they're showing Jodi's piece, Shane says, "Hi Marley," when she's hugging Marley Matlin. Like, she calls her real name. I thought it was really funny. But as we know, it's pretty much the whole group except Tina, because obviously awkward. And again, this takes me right out of the episode, like right out of it, because I cannot believe this. Like, I'm an easily pleased person. I will suspend a lot of disbelief, but I do not think someone who is deaf would make this piece of art that 50% focuses on someone speaking and being secretly recorded in moments when no one else was there. I just wonder, did they all do this scene and write this and direct this, and then afterwards someone's gone, maybe we should have asked someone who's deaf? Like, anyway, it also is, I just don't think, again, a famous artist, a famous female lesbian artist would do this, because women are really clever. I'm not saying men aren't clever, but women as well. Payback and all those things, and Jodi's obviously really hurt, and I feel like it still would have stung if Jodi did some really great sculpture and then did something that only Bette would realize. Like, Bette would still get that same feeling. Okay, it wouldn't have been like the public humiliation that it was, but it still would have hurt. And also, then Jodi wouldn't have... I mean, I know they play it in the show, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing that you, like, secretly recorded and done, like, cut shots and trifled through the L words, like, behind the scenes, you know, camera work. But no one... I just, you know, I know a lot of art, you know, it's all about the eye and the beholder and all these things, but I just don't believe that people going to an opening at the Hammer Museum would look at this and be like, yes. And also the way that, like, when Bette gets there and that woman's like, oh, I'm so glad you came, who would ever think that Bette would come if she knew anything about this piece? Like, no normal person would, but of course, no effing way would Bette Porter come, like, and give the speech. Are you kidding? No. But this all leads to, and again, I know some people think that this scene is like, why is this scene in here? It's a fluff, where they go to Bette and Tina's house, and Bette and Tina are lying on the bed, and Bette's like, it looks like that magazine cover of, like, John Lennon and Yoko Ono, but I think that it's really showing, you know, Bette is allowing herself to be vulnerable in front of Tina, and then Tina's allowed to be kind of that strong figure. So I really like this scene, and I think it's important that it's in there, and I'm glad that it's in there. So, I mean, I know sequentially this scene is towards the end too, but of course I've saved the best for last. There is no scene I have never watched something like this, where, you know that meme that's like, what isn't sex but feels like sex? It's this scene, because they're just like dancing and kissing, and it is one of the hottest scenes I've ever, and it is one of the hottest things I've ever seen in my entire life. If I had to watch something for the rest of my life, I mean, it'd probably be the She Bar scene, but also this. Like, I cannot overstate how much I love this scene where they're dancing. And yes, I know some people are like, oh, it's so over the top, and it's perfect, it's amazing, it's adorable, it's hot, it's everything. So back off, I love it. There's a lot of like little subtle things when, especially when they're at Yamashiro, which that place that they go for the rap party, they shot a lot of this episode in LA. Actually, like the scene where Tina and Adele are talking, and then they're doing like the Jesse Karina scene in the movie, that's in LA. And then Yamashiro, where the rap party is, the exterior is that place really, and the interior is the place that they're at too, which doesn't happen a lot of the time in TV. Like normally they'll shoot an exterior of a place and the inside will be like a soundstage or something. So I really, you know, the place is gorgeous and I would love to go there. And I just, there's a lot going on the entire time they're there. Even when they arrive and like they're getting, Bette and Tina and Kit are getting out of the car, and Bette's like getting the valet ticket, and William like blanks Tina when he's walking in, and Bette's like, you know, says, it kind of gives her like a little, you know, let's just go in and see our friends and stuff, and like grabs her hand. Like, it's just the feel of them in this episode, Bette and Tina obviously, is, it's us against the world. Like, we are completely back in balance, back together. And just that, you know, when they are dancing and everybody's saying, even though everyone was like ragging on them before, and they're like, they belong together, they always have. And of course, they do belong together. So non-Bette and Tina fans, come fight me. They do. I'm only joking. So, of course, we end the episode again in just a weird place for a finale. Like, it's so undramatic, and I don't know. William, Tina, Adele are having this conversation about, we're changing the end of the movie, we're making it Jesse goes back to gym. And honestly, not shocked, because heterosexual Hollywood. And Tina, then everybody else is outside. Jenny sees Shane and Nikki hooking up, and then everybody's like arguing and coming outside, and then Tina tells everyone they're changing the end of the movie. Bette is like, cool, peace, let's go get the valet, and walks off. And then cut to black. We're done. Season 5 in the bag. Guys, I just don't know. Season 5 was so good. Again, I say it all the time, but it is my favorite season of the L Word. It has the best episodes of the L Word in it. I think 3 of my top 5 episodes are season 5 episodes. And the finale was just such a letdown. I remember when it was on, I think I was, so happy that Bette and Tina were back together. And then we did, everyone was in it, and Helena came back, and Peggy Peabody was in it. That I didn't immediately think, like, nothing really happened in this episode. And it also, at the same time, feels very rushed. It's long, nothing happens, and it's rushed at the same time. Maybe I'm completely off base here. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. And of course, if at any point you enjoyed the video, if season 5 is your favorite and you are glad to see Bette and Tina back together, drop a like on the video. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, if this is either your first time and you enjoyed the video, or if you watch 4 or 5, 6, all of my videos and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Click the subscribe button, because you want to get me one person closer to having my 5,000 and 10,000 subs so that I can do my L Word tattoo. Come on. And of course, if you would like some beautiful L Word merch and would like to support the channel, head down to my store link, which is in the drop down below. And also, I'm doing multiple videos a week. I know there was a few days between my last one and this one, just busy. But now with, we're safely in 2021, and I am going to be trying to do 2 videos a week plus my live. And my live is on every Friday, unless something changes, but it's always on a Friday at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific. I am going to start doing a once a month on a Saturday late live, so that people in the US have a chance to catch it, because like Friday is work day for some people, and also it's quite early in the day for the US, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I normally, if anything changes or when I'm going to be doing the late live, I always mention it on Twitter or Instagram, so make sure to follow me over there, and you'll be able to keep up with even more L Word content, because I post a lot, especially on Instagram and Twitter, so check those out as well. So season 5 is all done. I cannot believe that, honestly, it's been about a year since I started doing the retro reviews, and I really thought at this stage that Generation Q season 2 would be back, but we are still waiting. And make sure that you've checked out my latest video on Generation Q season 2. I've gone over like everything that we know, and during my lives on Friday I normally talk about like what's going on, what's the latest casting and things, so those are always good to pop into as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and huge thank you to everyone who has watched all the 5 seasons of my retro reviews. I really can't believe we've only got 8 episodes left of the OG series. So I will be back next week with season 6 episode 1, and of course there'll be even more L Word content before that. So make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.